I'm Victoria, and this is What Victoria Read. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I am doing a huge unhaul. I'm literally surrounded by books on this side in little stacks that I'm hoping are not going to fall over because we're getting to the end of the year. As I always do, I do this a couple of times in the year. I think the last one I did was in August. I love to have a declutter. So at the time of filming this, I'm filming this on the 20th of December, and yesterday, which was like, we'd just broken up from school on the 17th, and yesterday I spent decluttering my house and cleaning things and throwing things out and all that kind of stuff. What is my fringe doing today? It's probably time for a trim, is the answer to that. And doing the same with my books. So the usual kind of thing at the start of these videos. So a lot of these were gifted to me. If you did gift them to me, thank you so much. I did really enjoy receiving them and reading them. A lot of these I actually gave 4 or 5 stars. I'm just not going to read them again. I have very limited shelf space. We don't have a huge house. And also I'm a big believer that if I'm not going to read it again, why would I keep it on my shelf when it can go out into the world and somebody else can read it? A lot of these will also end up in my classroom library. The ARCs I'm going to put into the little library that we've got in our staff room. Some of my bookish friends might have 1 or 2 others, and then the rest will go to my local charity shop. So I feel like it's a good thing because I have more space for the books that are incoming, because for example, some lovely people have sent me Amazon parcels over the last week, so I know I've got books coming in. I've also got book shaped presents under the tree, which is just there, and I need space, so I get the space that I need. These books get another life with somebody else. Everybody's happy. So I'm going to go through them quite quickly because there are 66 books in this unhaul. So if I talked about every single book, we would be here for years. So these are also all books that you've seen me read or DNF. There are a few DNFs in here. And like I said, most of these I loved. I think there were 3 that I thought were trash. And that's why they're leaving. But mostly I've really enjoyed them, but I'm just not going to read them again. So let's go. So I'm going to start off with a collection of books that might surprise some people because I am unhauling most of my Hollybourne collection. The reason for this is because I keep looking at them. I don't think I'm going to read them again. And when I have Hollybourne books in my classroom library, they are so popular. Like I cannot hold on to them long enough because the kids just want them so much. So I'm keeping Am I Normal Yet and It Only Happens in the Movies and The Places I've Cried in Public because I feel like I'll go back to those. But I am unhauling the manifesto on How to Be Interesting, Are We All Lemmings and Snowflakes, How Do You Like Me Now, What Magic Is This, Soulmates, which I really don't think is her best work, What's a Girl Got to Do, How Hard Can Love Be, and would be better if I hold them up, and A Happy New Year. So all of these are going to go into my classroom library. See, I'm dropping books already. I am then unhauling a YA duology because I absolutely loved the first book, gave it 5 stars. Absolutely hated the second book because I feel like it makes the first book pointless, and so it is a slight rage unhaul. And that is The Wrath and the Dawn and The Rose and the Dagger by Rennie Adia. I think that's how you say it. I thought this was fantastic and this made me really cross. So those are going. Those will also go into my classroom library. And then I'm unhauling a whole trilogy just because I definitely won't read them again. And that's the Scythe trilogy by Neil Shusterman. I thought the first one was great, really enjoyed that one. The second one I thought was phenomenal. And then I really didn't like how it ended. And I just cannot see myself going back and rereading. So those will also go into my classroom library. The same for Say Her Name by Juno Dawson. I thought it was fantastically creepy, but I'm not going to read it again. I feel like I'm going to say this a lot. Witches Steeped in Gold is one that I really wanted to love, but I ended up DNFing about 100 pages because I just couldn't get into it. But someone else will thoroughly enjoy that. Liberty. Is this an ARC? No, this is a finished copy that I was kindly sent by Book Break because I enjoyed the first one, which I think was called Enchantée. But when it came to it, I just didn't feel like carrying on with the story, so that's going out. Agnes at the End of the World. I should have said I've roughly split this into YA, which is this section, and then adult, which is most of it. This is the end of the YA bits, I think. Agnes at the End of the World by Kelly McWilliams. I really enjoyed this. This was as you'd expect from the title, like a kind of post-apocalyptic, well, apocalyptic novel, as in like the apocalypse is happening as we're reading. I thought it was really cool, but again, I won't pick it up, and one of my other kids will enjoy it. And we are now into the adult section, and I am going quite quickly, like I said, but you've seen me talk about these all before. So a book I really thought was trash and didn't enjoy at all, and I read last month, was The Teacher by Katarina Diamond. It just wasn't good. Execution by S.J. Paris. I really liked this one because it was likened to the C.J. Sampson series here. And it was similar vibes. I enjoyed it. I think it was one that I just picked up at random in a bookshop. I love when that happens. All Systems Red by Martha Wells. I think it was Cover Books. Yeah, Mariana Cover Books sent me this because she really wanted me to read some sci-fi. And I gave it a go. It was okay. I'm still not into things set in space. Then I have The Imposter by Anna Wharton. This was an art copy that I was sent by Book Break. It was good. It was creepy in places, but I didn't love it. The Foundling by Stacey Halls. I really enjoy Stacey Halls' writing, but again, won't pick it up again. Beautiful cover though. I read Anything You Do Say by Gillian McAllister, which was a really clever like sliding doors type setup, so I would recommend if you're interested in that, but again, I'm not going to pick it up again. 16 Horses by Greg Buchanan. That's a book I would really recommend. It's really creepy and atmospheric and like a small town and kind of mass hysteria is probably how I would say it. And again, this is another proof from Book Break. Perfect Death by Helen Fields. I'm really enjoying this series. They're just not books I'll go back to. I've got the next one, which I think is the last one on my shelf waiting. These are very gritty, very gory police procedurals set in Edinburgh. Cross Her Heart by Sarah Pinborough was one that I accidentally bought again, even though I'd already read it. So this is just going straight out. I remember enjoying it, but as it's Sarah Pinborough, it is a little bit bonkers, so just be aware of that. Let's do the next stack. Oh, another beautiful proof I was sent was the Christie Affair by Nina de Gramont. I feel like this book is going to be huge when it comes out in January. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but again, I'm not going to pick it up, and if I did, I would probably treat myself to a nice copy of the finished edition. Number 47 by Hannah R. Palmer, who is also a booktuber, who I will link in the description. This was brilliantly creepy. If you like Misery from Stephen King, this is very much like that vibe. Hannah's also an indie author, so she's published this herself. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it, but again, not going to read it again, so I'm going to pass it on to somebody else. The Confessions of Franny Langton, historical fiction, really enjoyed it, would highly recommend. Lazarus by Eugene Volodlaskin was a book my brother bought me a few years ago for Christmas, but I did read it. I found it quite hard going. It wasn't quite for me at the time. I just can't see myself picking it up again, so that's going out. City of Vengeance by D.V. Bishop, another one I would definitely recommend, also along the same lines as the C.J. Sampson books, and that came out in February this year. And if you haven't picked it up and you enjoy the C.J. Sampson books, I would really suggest you get this one. I'm going to pick myself up a finished copy, and I'm really hoping to get my hands on the next book as soon as possible. I also read The Talented Mr Ripley by Patricia Highsmith. This was okay, and I think if I had more space on my shelves, it might be one that I keep because I do really like the cover, but I just didn't love it quite enough, so that's going out. The End We Start From by Megan Hunter. I really enjoy Megan Hunter's writing. This is a really odd little kind of dystopian novella. It's almost told in verse, like with the way it's laid out, and I just thought it was beautiful, but again, I'm not going to read it again. The Last Empress by An Chi Min. I've read both books in this duology now, and the other one has already left my collection, so I'm not keeping this one either. The Prison Doctor by Dr. Amanda Brown. Really fascinating, definitely recommend it, but for me it was definitely a one read. Spectacle by Sue Perkins, who is a UK TV presenter, probably best known for being one of the original presenters of the Great British Bake Off. This was really fascinating, and if you like Sue Perkins, definitely pick this up, but again, I'm not going to go back to it, so somebody else can go and enjoy it. Let's do another stack. This is one of the books I really didn't like, and that was The Travelling Bag by Susan Hill. Susan Hill wrote The Woman in Black, which is one of my favourite creepy ghost stories, so I had really high hopes for this, and it just fell flat. I was bored most of the time, so that's definitely going out. A Midsummer Night, #NoFilter. Charlotte from Books and Bargains bought this for me for my birthday, and I read it. It's Midsummer Night's Dream retold with text speak and emojis. and I thought it was brilliant fun. I gave it 5 stars, I loved it, and this is definitely going into my classroom library because I will be teaching Year 7 A Midsummer Night's Dream in the summer term, and I'm sure it will come in useful. The Confession by Jessie Burton, absolutely beautiful cover, really loved it, gave me Evelyn Hugo vibes, so would recommend that one. The Glass Hotel is one of the few in this stack I actually haven't read, by Emily St John Mandel. I really enjoyed Station 11 by this author, but this was sent to me unsolicited, and when I started I read the first sort of 10 pages and I just wasn't feeling it, so it's going out to the world. Things My Mother Told Me by Tanya Atapatu. Really enjoyed this. This was really warm and fun, and lovely, but again, I'm not going to read it again, so somebody else can enjoy it. I've also not read Shaggy Bane by Douglas Stewart. There's nothing about it that's drawing me in. I've had so many of my friends whose book taste is similar to mine say that they really enjoyed it, but there's just something about it, I'm just not feeling it, so it's going out. I also DNF'd Witchlight by Susan Fletcher. I just couldn't get into it. If you want beautiful descriptions of the Scottish Highlands and stuff, this is for you, but I just couldn't find my way into the story, so that's going out. I did read The Office of Historical Corrections by Daniel Evans. This is a proof copy, again, that Book Break sent me. Really enjoyed this short story collection, but I can't see myself picking it up again, and if I did, I would probably go and treat myself to a copy of the finished edition. And I also DNF'd The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters. I annoyed myself with this because I was about 200 pages in, 300 pages into this massive book when I decided to DNF it, but nothing was happening. I did not have the patience for it, so that's going out into the world. Probably about halfway through. Okay, I am also getting rid of Fragile by Sarah Hilary. This was a proof that Book Break sent me, and it came out in the summer. This was very creepy, and I remember enjoying it at the time, but again, it's kind of one of those that once I've read it, I'm not going to read it again, so somebody else can enjoy that. And you're definitely going to hear the sound of books falling over in a minute. This pile is, yeah, precarious. Also going is The Test by Sylvain Nouvel. I really enjoyed this. This is about a man who was doing a British citizenship test, and stuff gets weird. Thoroughly enjoyed this, but again, once you've read it, it's kind of one of those where you know what's going on. Probably not going to read it again. I've also got Thicker Than Blood by Mike Omar. I really enjoyed this trilogy. This is the Zoe Bentley series, and I'm kind of hoping that there's going to be more in this series, but they are really big books. They're that weird, if I hold it, they're that weird American size, plus it's really heavy. So I just don't have space for it, and I haven't kept the others, so that's going out. But if you want serial killer, FBI agent, very violent, very dark, this is it. It was really good, very much enjoyed it. Let's try and leave that there, professional as ever. Also going out is The Other Bennett Sister by Janice Hadlow. This was the proof copy that Leanne at Literary Diversions very kindly sent me, but I've also got a finished copy that I'd accidentally bought myself because I forgot that Leanne was sending this my way. So this is going out to the world. Really enjoyed this. This is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice from the perspective of Mary Bennett, so would recommend that one. I do feel a bit bad about these next three actually, because I haven't read them. This is The Crimson Bile by Herschel Cole. This was sent to me by the publishers very kindly, but I read the first little bit and I just don't think it was for me, so that's going out into the world. I was also sent by Book Break Sunset Swing by Ray Celestin, and I was really excited to read this and sat down to read it, and it's the 5th in a series, and the size of it, I don't need to keep this. I will get around to that series at some point, but it's just not high up enough on my priority list for me to keep right now. And then the last one, I think, of the unreads is Scary Smart by Mo Gordat, which again, I was sent by Book Break. This came out in September. And it says the future of artificial intelligence and how you can save our world, which sounded really interesting when I requested it. But then when I sat down to read it, my anxiety around technology and AI just kind of got in the way. So this didn't turn out to be for me, but I'm sure somebody else will really enjoy it. We've got 2 stacks left. So next up is What Would Boudicca Do by E. Foley and B. Coates. My cousins bought this for me for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it says everyday problems solved by history's most remarkable women, and it's super feminist and interesting and funny. And again, this will probably find its way into my classroom library, because I just think someone will really get something else out of this. And I enjoyed it at the time, but again, I don't feel the urge to read it again. I am also, this might get me kicked off Booktube, getting rid of Normal People by Sally Rooney. I read this, I enjoyed it more than Conversations with Friends, which I really didn't like, but I don't get the Sally Rooney hype. It was okay, I'm not going to read it again, and it's just taking up space. I am also sending out into the world Objects of Desire by Claire Sestanovich, which I read last month. It's a short story collection which I really enjoyed, and I would definitely look for more from this author, but again, I just can't see me picking it up again. Oh, let's try and make space. I'm also unhauling A Different Kind of Happy by Rachel Hambleton, who is better known probably as the part-time working mummy. I absolutely love everything Rachel does. She talks online about parenting, about step parenting. She also talks about domestic violence and women's refuges and all kinds of stuff. She's amazing. So when she said that she was releasing a fiction book, I pre-ordered it in order to support her. I read it, it was fine. It's not really my kind of thing, but somebody else will like that. I'm also unhauling Detransition Baby by Tori Peters, which I read earlier in the year as a buddy read with Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. Found it really interesting, but again, I'm not going to pick it up, so I'll send that out into the world. I'm also unhauling Platform 7 by Louise Doherty, which Charlotte from Books and Bargains gave to me when she was unhauling months ago. Really enjoyed it, but again, not going to read it again, so that's going out. And then one that might surprise people, because I really love this author, but I didn't love this book, so I'm trying to be sensible and get rid of it, and that is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I just didn't think it was anywhere near as good as his other work, and to be honest, it's one of those books that kind of irritates me when I see it on my shelf, so that's going out. Final stack. Oh, I am unhauling My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. I did really enjoy this when I read this, as much as you can enjoy a book like this, but I'm just not going to go back to it, and it takes up a lot of space. Speaking of taking up a lot of space, Daughters of Night by Laura Shepherd Robinson. I have the first in this series or duology on my TBR to read, and I'm very much looking forward to it because I really enjoyed this. This is historical fiction, and I had a great time reading it, but it's huge and I'm not going to go back to it. I'm also unhauling Right Said Fred by Freddie Flintoff. This was actually a book I gifted my husband for Christmas last year. He's read it, I've not read it, but it's not really something I'm interested in, but somebody else will enjoy it. I'm also unhauling another book by an author whose work I generally love, but I didn't love this one enough to keep it, and that is After the Silence by Louise O'Neill. Louise O'Neill is an auto-read author for me. I've read everything she's written. This was okay, and it was her first kind of adult kind of thriller mystery, but I just didn't love it enough, so that's going out. The book I really was disappointed by was The Sanatorium by Sarah Pearce. I had such high hopes of this. I've got the sprayed edge edition, beautiful, but the story itself just didn't make sense, and the plot holes, just no, not for me. And then I got like two more. I am unhauling The Coven by Lizzie Fry, which was a random pick when I went into Bath for the first time at the start of the year, I think, after lockdown. Really enjoyed this. I've seen really mixed reviews for it. And it says there is nothing more frightening than powerful women, and it was very kind of feminist, as you can probably tell, about witchcraft and magic and all that kind of stuff, and I just was really drawn in by it, and I will definitely read more from the author, but I can't see myself picking it up again. And then the final one, also feminist, is XX by Angela Chadwick. This is a book I read 2 years ago, and it's been sat on my shelf ever since, and when I was going through it, I was like, I'm clearly not going to read that again. Whew, that was 66 books in 20 minutes. Not bad going. So those are the books that are leaving my collection, making space for all the books that are coming into my collection, which I'm very excited about. Drop me a comment below. Do you unhaul? How do you manage your books? What are your kind of unhaul criteria? Tell me how you do it. If you got to this point in the video, let's go with the book stack emoji. I think I've used that quite a few times recently, but we'll go with that because there is a big stack of books here that I'm getting rid of. Please subscribe if you would like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.